Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on Calgary's Business. Joining me today is PJ LaRue, who is the owner of several eating and drinking establishments in Calgary, including the craft beer market. Thanks for joining us today, PJ.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, yesterday was the beginning of the reopening of several of the restaurant and bar industry in Calgary. Tell me how it went from your perspective and your establishments.
So yesterday we actually only opened one of my locations in Calgary. So we opened Trolley 5 on 17th Avenue, but we had already opened Craft in Edmonton last week. So we had a little bit of jump start on what to expect. And it's been very well received. The team's super excited, but it's a little different. You know, it takes a little bit of my soul away from what we love to do. It's you know, our business is all about being social. So it's really hard when, you know, the biggest parameter we have is to stay socially distant.
Yeah, exactly. What's the plan for the rest of your establishments and their opening?
We're opening everything else on Wednesday. So Craft Beer Market, 10th Avenue, and then Home and Away and St. James Corner will open on Wednesday as well. And South Center will follow the week after. So we're going to open the following week.
Okay. Tell me just a little bit about what measures you're going to have in place in those establishments to deal with the obviously the health and safety protocols as guidelined by the government.
So we're doing quite a few things behind the scenes, and then a bunch of things that the guests are going to see. So behind the scenes, every guest or every team member that comes in is going to have a temp. You know, they also have a form that they're signing to make sure that they're adhering to safety protocols based on what we have and based on what Health Alberta has. And then from the guest perspective, you're going to see tables, you know, quite a bit apart, at least 6 feet apart. We have hand sanitizers on every table. All of our team members will be in masks. There's also arrows on the floor to direct traffic. And then, you know, no more than 6 people at the tables. We have an interior or an inside protocol called Run Clean that we do every 30 minutes. So you'll see our staff scurrying about, and we just you know, run and sanitize the room, especially all high touch points.
Yeah. How do you think consumers are going to react to coming into that environment? And again, as you mentioned, being in a restaurant, being in a bar is a very social, socially interactive experience. A lot of that is kind of, for lack of a better word, and no pun intended, sterilized, right? How do you think they're going to be reacting to that?
Well, I think, you know, everyone tosses around the new norm. You know, my hope is that this is not the new norm, and I think people are just eager to get out, and we're seeing that already. That, you know, the cabin fever kind of set in, and people want to be around people. So, you know, if it's a little bit apart, I think people will be okay for a while. I think if this stays for a long time, it'll get old soon. But I think people are reacting in a good way, and everyone wants to be safe. So, you know, we're just doing our part, and our goal is to make our experience as normal as possible. So when you come into Craft, our goal as a team is to make it as normal as possible, because I think that's what people really want.
Now, when you look at one of the obviously guidelines is that 50% capacity, how difficult is that going to be for you guys to deal with, and for anybody actually in the restaurant industry, you know, depending on how long it goes?
Well, it's a break-even scenario at best. So, you know, I hope the government understands that. But it's nice to get people back to work. For our establishment, we've got a big footprint. We're almost like a grocery store, so we have a lot of space for patrons to, you know, kind of feel very comfortable in our environment. And I really feel for some of these small restaurateurs that are really good friends of mine that, you know, if you only have 50 seats and you're at 50% capacity, plus you have to keep the six feet distance, you might only be at 20 capacity. So really 50 capacity, you know, everyone says 50 capacity, but really it's not 50. It's how many people we can get in with the social distance measures in place.
I guess the longer that continues, right? The better, you know, for lack of a better word, but the better the chances are. A lot of these businesses won't be able to survive.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable if this stays, like I said, it's probably a best case scenario as a break even scenario at this point. Um, so yeah, I think, at 50% capacity, if there's not more support, which I think there will be, but landlords have to understand that, if you got 50% of the ability to produce revenue, you should be, hopefully paying less rent.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us today, PJ.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, that was PJ LaRue, who is the owner of several establishments in Calgary, including the craft beer market. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on Calgary's Business. Thanks for joining us today.